Welcome to Stream, a trucktractortrailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and I guess we do have to call this an emergency podcast. I try very hard to avoid the, emergency podcast moniker. I do think it's overused in podcasting, but let's be honest here. We do have an emergency. And we needed to fire up the podcast and talk about it because there was a lot of cautious optimism headed into 2022 that the OEMs would be able to deliver all the new units that the fleets were promised, and that the fleets would then be able to liquidate their used assets and so on and so forth, and that these prices for used trucks and trailers and other heavy equipment would begin to stabilize here. Unfortunately, here we are as we're going to wrap up the first quarter in the year here, and that is not the case. Not only is that not the case, but prices are actually going up because the delays have become much more significant than people hoped for. Of course, there are, global and geopolitical situations going on that this is not the podcast to discuss it, but it is happening. We all know what's happening, and so the continued supply chain issues, the continued supply issues will go forward here, and the truck and trailer and other used equipment prices will continue to increase. So, all that being said, I know there are many buyers out there that were sort of holding off for as long as possible in the hope, and I think in some cases expectation even, that these prices would start to stabilize and you would be able to get that truck or trailer that you needed at the cost for you. And the reason for this episode is to unfortunately say that's not going to be the case. Rather, the opposite is true, is you should look to buy sooner rather than later, because the sooner you get in, you're going to get in at a lower price. You'll be able to lock that interest rate in at a fixed cost, whereas we expect to see fluctuations there as well. And certainly there'll be a link to the video with Andrew Johnston talking about the inflation and interest rates. But I think it's important to have an honest conversation with you, the viewer, specifically you, the buyer, specifically you, that small fleet owner operator buyer, because some of the conversations that we've been having recently in terms of people looking to buy equipment, we are seeing buyers that we've never seen before, because these type of buyers do not buy used. And they certainly would not buy used at the prices that they're spending on it, just because they are so absolutely desperate to get those vehicles and equipment in, that they are doing something which they've never done in their business operations, and that is spend a fortune on used trucks and trailers and other commercial assets. It's pretty remarkable. It's I'm sure for the owner operator, it's a little scary to hear that. But that being said, there are still deals available. There are still trucks and trailers available. Yes, at a higher price than you might want, but we're trying really hard to hold off on that astronomical pricing. But that is something that you must start factoring in that, the waiting for the market to stabilize approach is just not going to work any longer, because throughout 2022, we're going to see prices just go up and up and up.